My husband and I went to the orphanage to adopt a child, and the little one suddenly ran over and called him Daddy. After a car accident left me, Bella Carson, unable to have children, my husband Mason Reed suggested we adopt. So, we went to the adoption center. When we met the little boy Mason had chosen, a healthy, fair-skinned boy named Liam Archer, he suddenly rushed into Mason's arms, calling out, "Dad, why did it take you so long to get here? Mom and I have been waiting forever." Mason had a low sperm count, so after we got married, I repeatedly went to the hospital for IVF in hopes of having a child with him. Finally, in the 3rd year of our marriage, I got pregnant. Both Mason and I were deeply invested in this long-awaited child. We often imagined what the baby would look like when it was born. But, in the end, our hopes were shattered. At 6 months pregnant, I was in a car accident on my way to a checkup. The accident caused me to lose the baby, and it also left me unable to have children again. I was devastated. Although Mason was just as heartbroken, he showed a smile and said it was okay. He told me that, compared to the baby, he cared more about me. He said if I really wanted a child, we could adopt one from an orphanage. However, when we went to the orphanage to adopt, the child Mason immediately picked out jumped into his arms and said, "Dad, why are you so late? Mom and I have been waiting for you." The child's words made my heart drop. Though I didn't want to doubt Mason, my rational side couldn't help but want to dig deeper. I squatted down and looked at the boy, who looked about 80% like Mason, and smiled as I asked, "If he's your dad, then who's your mom?" Mason's face immediately paled. Before the child could answer, Mason hurriedly spoke, "Of course it's you. This child is smart. He can tell we're the perfect parents for him." Even before we officially adopted, he started calling us Mom and Dad. "Dad? That's nonsense. My real mom isn't this dull, lifeless woman." The child pushed me away from Mason and stood there defiantly. My heart sank. I thought, dull, lifeless, these weren't words a 5-year-old should be able to say. Mason's face turned ashen. Just as I was about to press for more answers, the door to the break room opened. Mason's secretary, Ruth Sterling, walked out. She looked surprised to see Mason and said, "Mr. Reed, what are you doing here? I'm off today, just came by to see the kids." "Liam, what are you bothering Mr. Reed for? Didn't I tell you before?" She walked over and yanked the child, who was still clinging to Mason, away, scolding him. Mason, looking flustered, hurried to my side, grabbed my hand, and awkwardly smiled as he explained, "All the kids here act like this. When they see good adoptive parents, they rush to call them Mom and Dad." I calmly pulled my hand away. "Then why did he call Ruth Mom? I came here with you, shouldn't he call me?" Mason hesitated, then replied, "After we decided to adopt, I came here with Ruth to check things out. This child had met us before and immediately decided we were his parents. You know, kids from orphanages crave affection but can be really stubborn. Changing their initial view takes time. Really, I guess I was just overthinking." I stood up and started walking out. Mason hurried after me, asking, "Aren't you going to finalize the adoption today? Adopting a child isn't a small matter. I'll think about it more carefully and let you know." I thought, women are sensitive creatures, especially those who have just lost a child and their ability to have more. That day, at the orphanage, after the seed of doubt was planted in my heart, I couldn't help but pay closer attention to Mason's work and personal life. I always had the feeling that Mason and his secretary, Ruth, were up to something. One night, as I passed by the study on my way to the bathroom, I overheard a phone conversation. The child would have been better off dead. He shouldn't have come into this world. So what if he was a fully formed baby boy? He's nothing compared to even a single strand of hair from Ruth's child. It was Mason's voice, deliberately lowered. I thought, who was he talking about who was nothing compared to Ruth's child? I pressed my ear to the wooden door, straining to hear more. Then, I heard the voice of his father, Jackson Reed, come through the phone. Are you out of your mind? How can you say something like that? Do you really think you deserve Bella? When you and Ruth broke up because of the business trouble, you were drunk all the time and didn't care about the company. If it weren't for Bella begging her parents to help you, you wouldn't be the president of the Carson Group today. You wouldn't even have a job fixing shoes on the side of the road. And yet you didn't appreciate Bella. On your wedding night, you drugged her and told her you had a weak sperm count. Bella, despite all that, didn't blame you. She risked everything and went through nearly 3 years of IVF. The doctors even told her to give up, but she stubbornly insisted on having a child to carry on the Reed family legacy. But you heartless bastard, not only did you fail to cherish her, but you also caused a car accident to kill the child in Bella's womb for the sake of your and Ruth's child, and even bribed the doctor to make sure she could never have children again. How the hell did I end up with such a soulless scumbag son like you? That was her choice. Mason's cold voice cut through the conversation. If she hadn't insisted on IVF, she wouldn't have miscarried, and I wouldn't have had the chance to make sure she couldn't have children. Now it doesn't matter what you want. Bella can't have children anymore. If you don't let Ruth's child, Liam, into the Reed family, you can forget about keeping any of our fortune. I stood frozen outside the door. I thought, what were they talking about? Mason was the one who caused my miscarriage. He was also the one who made sure I could never have children again. Was all this just so he could bring Ruth's son, Liam, into the Reed family and secure his future? The cold truth made my teeth clench together tightly. Then, I heard Jackson's voice, nearly breaking down. When your company was on the verge of bankruptcy, Bella's parents helped you out because of her. They saved your company. After everything they did for you, why didn't you just leave their daughter alone? Why marry her if you didn't love her, and then, you didn't even cherish her? Do you have any idea how much damage you've done to her? I didn't want to marry Bella either. But it just so happened that her family, the Carson Group, could save my company, and she just happened to like me. I was just going with the flow. But that wasn't love. The only one I've ever loved, from the beginning to the end, is Ruth. I couldn't listen to it anymore. Stumbling, I returned to the bedroom and buried myself under the covers. Over and over again, I replayed Mason's words in my head. So, Mason had never loved me. What he married was just my position as the only daughter of the president of the Carson Group. But after the Carson Group went bankrupt and my parents passed away last year, my identity had become meaningless. That was why he dared to orchestrate a car accident to kill the child I was carrying, to hurt me beyond repair, all to make way for Ruth's child and for Ruth herself. When Mason's footsteps sounded at the door of the bedroom, I quickly closed my eyes, not wanting him to know that I was awake. He tiptoed over to my bed and gently kissed my forehead. In the past few years, he often did small things like this. At that time, my heart was full of sweetness. But now, when he kissed my forehead, I only felt a chilling, spine-tingling cold. Just a moment ago, during our phone call, he had clearly told me that he didn't love me. Yet now, he was casually making a move that contradicted his true feelings and kissed me. He was so good at pretending. His scheming was so deep it was almost terrifying. I had no power right now, so I absolutely couldn't tear my face off with him just yet. I couldn't let him know I had already uncovered the truth. If I did, Given Mason's unpredictable nature, I was afraid I might not even survive this. I had to quickly find the evidence of Mason's affair and his involvement in killing our child and harming me. Then, with the law's protection, I could completely break free from this scum of a man. Mason fell asleep soon after. Maybe I had been so naive and unaware before that Mason didn't guard himself around me. Once he was asleep, I used his phone's password for the first time since we got married. The phone looked clean. Whether it was WhatsApp or text messages, everything was about work and normal, everyday conversations. But this couldn't be right. He loved Ruth so much. He had even killed our child and made sure I would never be able to have children again, all for Ruth. In such a situation, there was no way his personal phone would be so spotless. I'd heard that some cheating men set up 2 systems on their phones, so I tried switching the system. And sure enough, there was another one. I tried the old lock screen password. It didn't work. Then I tried Ruth's birthday from the HR form, and it worked. It seemed this system was set up just for Ruth. When I switched over, the first thing I saw was a wedding photo of Mason and Ruth embracing each other. In the photo, Mason had the brightest, most radiant smile. But I remembered that when Mason and I took our wedding photos, he always kept a straight face. The photographer had asked him to smile, and he'd said he wasn't someone who liked to smile. It seemed he wasn't someone who didn't like to smile. He just didn't want to smile for someone who wasn't important to him. Although I already knew he didn't love me, the bitterness in my heart still flooded over me. I took a deep breath and opened WhatsApp. In his WhatsApp contacts, there were only 2 people. One was Ruth. The other was their son, Liam. Just as I logged in, Liam had sent Mason a voice message. After glancing at the sleeping Mason, I clicked to convert it to text. Dad, Mom is mad at me. She says it's my fault I said the wrong thing in front of that woman, and that's why I can't come back to you. But I said that on purpose. We're supposed to be a family. I don't want anyone else to be my mom except for her. I didn't reply, but instead, I opened the chat between Mason and Ruth. I saw the latest messages. I just gave your son a good scolding. With all the trouble he caused today, don't even talk about him coming back to the Reed family to claim his place. It's going to be tough. Mason replied, he's still young, don't hold it against him. I'll think of a way here. Bella listens to me. I'll talk to her in a couple of days. Maybe she'll agree to let Liam come live with us. Why do you need her to agree? Why don't you just kill her and be done with it? After all, she doesn't have any family to back her up. Don't talk like that. I've been married to her for 3 years. Wait, are you developing feelings for her? Choose her or me. If you pick her, I'll take the kid and disappear from your life forever. I'll choose you. Then kill her. Kill her, and I'll take the kid, and we can proudly be your wife. From now on, we'll be together forever as a family. Murder is illegal. Then use someone else to do it. Didn't you always say your driver, Noah Blackwood, looks at Bella with interest? Why not arrange for an accident? Make sure they both die in a car crash. If it's investigated and they find out the car was tampered with, we can blame it on Bella and Noah having an affair and committing suicide together. I thought, the driver, yes, I do have a driver named Noah Blackwood. He's a young man with great driving skills. His wife had breast cancer, and to pay for her treatment, he worked 3 jobs every day. One time, after he collapsed in front of my house, I learned about his situation from a passerby. I found out that his combined salary from 3 jobs didn't even add up to a third of what my family's driver earned, so I decided to offer him a helping hand. At that low point in his life, Noah didn't turn me down. When he started working as my driver, I advanced him a year's worth of salary. He used the money to get his wife the surgery she needed in time, and now, she's able to live a normal life again. Once his wife regained her strength, Noah was extremely grateful. Every day when he came to work, he would bring me some food made by his wife, and he would tell me that she wanted to meet the person who saved her life. From beginning to end, there was never anything inappropriate between Noah and me. I never noticed Noah looking at me in a way that wasn't proper. Noah had his beloved wife, and his Instagram was full of pictures of them together, living happily. I didn't understand why Mason, who also had Noah's WhatsApp, misunderstood the situation. Even more confusing was why he would tell Ruth about these baseless rumors. I thought, but none of that matters now. What matters is that Mason, taking Ruth's advice, decided to make a move against me and Noah tomorrow. It's truly sad. They say that a married couple shares affection. But for me, after 3 years of marriage, I've only earned hatred so intense that they wish they could get rid of me completely. Fighting back my frustration, I saved all these chat records. I also looked through the earlier messages and saved some evidence that could prove Mason's infidelity, the abortion, and how he caused harm to his wife. I then logged out of the system and put his phone away. Perhaps the truth hit me so hard tonight that I couldn't sleep. I tossed and turned in bed all night while Mason, in his sleep, muttered Ruth's name the most. Occasionally, my name came up, too. I thought, maybe in his dream, I had some kind of conflict with Ruth. Otherwise, how could someone like me end up in the same dream as Ruth? But never mind, after tomorrow, everything will be over. The next morning, when I opened my eyes, I saw that Mason was already gone. When I was having breakfast, he came back home. As I was eating, I noticed the smell of gasoline on him. Did you drive out? Yeah, Dad suddenly felt unwell last night. Since the driver had finished his shift, I drove myself over to check on him. I thought about Jackson, who had been defending me last night while Mason kept attacking him, and I couldn't help but put my fork down and ask, "How's your dad doing?" He said his heart was bothering him. "I've already taken him to the hospital." "Honey, do you want to go see him?" "I should go," I replied calmly, finishing the last bite of my egg. Mason looked at me with a complicated expression. "You don't have to go if you're not up for it. Your health hasn't been great since the miscarriage." "I'll go. After I married you, your dad has always treated me well. If he's unwell, I should see him," I said, standing up and asking Sarah Baker to get me some clothes. But then Mason came up behind me, wrapped his arms around my waist, and buried his head in my neck. He took a deep breath and said, "Honey, I'm sorry. Why are you suddenly apologizing? Since we met, you've helped me so much, but because of me, you've suffered so much. When we got married, I promised I'd give you a lifetime of happiness, but now, it seems I was too confident back then." I couldn't help but laugh coldly to myself. I thought, was this regret? But Mason, even if you regretted it, you still didn't stop me from jumping into your trap of death. With Mason seeing me off, I walked to the door. Outside, Noah, already at work, opened the car door and greeted me with a bright smile. "Good morning, Mrs. Reed." I nodded at Noah and got into the car. Mason stood at the door, watching us leave. In the rearview mirror, Mason's figure grew smaller and smaller. In the end, he even chased after the car, but it seemed like it was already too late. Noah drove steadily, but if something were to happen to the car, the brakes would have to be tampered with. I didn't know much about cars. And I didn't know how Mason had tampered with the brakes. But I could clearly feel the car, which had been driving at a constant speed, picking up speed. Noah seemed to notice it, too. He tried to brake. But it failed. Mrs. Reed. He looked at me with a pale face and said with a trembling voice, "The brakes seem to be failing. I checked everything before leaving yesterday. It's fine." I pointed ahead at the bridge railing and said coldly, "Crash into it, and after the car falls off the bridge, use the safety hammer's blade to cut the seat belt and break the window to escape. I can swim."